The National Economic Development and Labour Council, Nedlac, has warned the public against panic buying due to the coronavirus outbreak. Nedlac held an emergency meeting with stakeholders in Rosebank in Johannesburg today. I'm now joined on the line by the head of Nedlac, Seftel. Good evening and welcome to The Full View. Lisa, is it enough to just warn the public against panic buying? Why aren't you targeting the stores that are actually allowing them to panic buy?
Well, I think that that is something that might be part of a plan of action. But I think the most important thing about this virus, as has been stressed many times, is that we're all in this together and we all need to play our part. And I think it was in that spirit that it was indicated today that we should all refrain from panic buying because it puts additional strain on a number of supply chains.
Well, one can imagine with the anxiety levels that people currently have and fears that they also have as well, that some will just continue with the panic buying. Again, why aren't you targeting the stores that are allowing this panic buying?
Okay, let me just say that Nedlac is a partnership organization, and it's made up of organized business, labor, community, and government. So it's not a single organization that can respond to panic buying. But it is something that, as I said, there was an emergency Nedlac response team set up today that could look at taking forward.
So are these stores not represented at Nedlac?
The business organizations are represented,
sure.
And I believe that they are also doing what they can to discourage panic buying.
I'm sorry, Lisa, but what does it mean, they're doing what they can to discourage panic buying?
Well, one of the things that they're doing is to raise it in a forum like Nedlac to be able to get all the social partners to be part of discouraging panic buying. But let me also just say that the context in which this was discussed was in relationship to, I suppose, to specific things like masks and hand sanitizers that you'd want to make sure that that if manufacturers can promise that so many will be delivered, then there is no need for some people to take them all because there will be more hand sanitizers the next week. And that commitment was made by some of the representatives of business.
But in the meantime, what are those stores supposed to be doing?
That one I can't answer. That's for the stores to answer.
Sorry, that's for who to answer?
The store owners to answer.
But Lisa, what was the purpose of the meeting that you guys had today?
The purpose of the meeting was it was a tripartite plus community meeting where there was a wide-ranging discussion about many responses to the pandemic on behalf of employers, on behalf of trade unions, on behalf of workers. There was a lot of discussion about enhancing communication messages. There was a lot of discussion about the need to support workers and companies, especially small companies, who could be under distress due to the nature of the epidemic.
Would you call this meeting that you had a fruitful meeting?
Yes, it was, and it was, I would call it an unprecedented response to an unprecedented situation.
Okay. What are some of the resolutions that you've taken?
Okay, so the first resolution that was taken was that everybody will work together to ensure common messaging to different constituencies around the need for increased hygiene and the other public health responses in support of the call of the President. The second issue that was raised was the need to make sure that every single person that might have contracted the disease is able to be tracked, tested, and monitored. And there was a commitment made by organized business to support doing this even from this evening.
Sure.
The third issue related to the need to support workers and to ensure that workers and companies could use the provisions of the Unemployment Insurance Fund or compensation in the event that this was necessary. Fourthly, there was an acknowledgement that workplaces would need to adapt, for example, by allowing workers to change shifts, to work at home, and so on. And then lastly, there was also an acknowledgement that government needs to monitor the nature of the epidemic and the impact on the economy and may need to take additional measures going forward.
Were you at all, did you get a briefing at all around the stimulus package that the President spoke about last night?
The stimulus package specifically was not talked about. but instead there is going to be a Nedlac response team that will look at how there can be focused interventions, particularly for certain sectors. And it was also agreed that at a sectoral level, organised labour and organised business need to meet together to be able to identify what specific kinds of stimulus and support is needed.
Lisa, just a final question. Earlier on, we had a tweet from Bazi Mashiloa, who is a former unionist, who complained and said that your approach is quite sectarian. And I wonder, from this committee that will be set up now, will SAFTU form part of it? He emphasizes that the president said yesterday, we need everyone. So why not include them and worry about bureaucracy later?
I think definitely that this response team can make sure that it is as inclusive as possible. The important thing at the moment is to be able to exercise leadership, and there were significant numbers of leaders in the meeting today who have the ability to mobilize resources and make good the commitments that were made.
Okay then, thank you so much, Lisa Seftel, who is the Executive Director of Nedlac.